Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our Critics' Choice Association press conference for Being the Ricardos. The film opens in theaters this Friday, December 10th, and it drops on Amazon Prime on December 21st. Joining us for our conversation are Nina Arianda, Nicole Kidman, Javier Bardem, and J.K. Simmons. Let's start with you, Nina, on this. What was your first take on this incredible screenplay written by Aaron Sorkin?
It was such a brilliant first read, and then it was even more fun to dissect. And I think the thing that right away jumped off the page for me was just how just relentless the stakes are. Everything you could possibly want. It's almost a thriller for me, but the stakes never leave you, and it's just continuous to the end of the story.
It's incredible because this was just 1 week. It's amazing that they got all these episodes of I Love Lucy done. But JK, I would love to hear from you. What made Aaron Sorkin just like the perfect director for this movie?
Well, first, I'm wishing I'd done what Nina had done and actually read the script more than once. I was so blown away by it the first time. That's a great question because I think obviously Hollywood knows Aaron Sorkin, the writer, and has known for decades now. This is the third film he's directed, the first film that he wrote intending to be the director, because the other two times it came together for different reasons. And he's gotten to a point now in his career as both writer and producer, and knows every aspect of filmmaking so thoroughly that it was a very collaborative process with everyone, and I mean all of us in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. But he also had sort of supreme confidence in himself and from those of us working with him as a guy who knows every aspect of what this story is and how to tell it.
There are so many levels to the screenplay, so many levels to the story. This is a movie that you need to see many times over and over to just like get the feel of everything. And Javier, I love that this movie is not just about Lucy and Desi as business partners, trailblazing business partners, I have to say, but also shows them as, a married couple dealing with stuff. How did those different aspects of their relationship appeal to you?
Well, that's the exquisite complexity of the script, that it really goes to different places without abandoning no one in a specific. Like, it really reunites lots of aspects of them as a marriage, as a couple, as artists, as colleagues, and everything is so well put together that makes it more exciting to perform it, but also to watch it. As an audience, it's very full of different details that is going to give you a good idea of who they were and what they were doing back in the day.
Nicole Kidman, I have to say that for all these years, I always wondered why there wasn't a movie done about Lucy. I mean, look, she was a studio head at a time when there just weren't that many women running a studio, and
None.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so
Well,
how
she wasn't running the studio, but they had Desilu, the productions, and no actors had that at that time. She was, she was the first of her kind. She's one of a kind, and I think though the thing that this film does is it sort of pulls the curtain back on. It's not the I Love Lucy show, it's how was that made and who was this person that was capable of that genius, and what was her story, what was her life. And as JK said, aren't you glad it's not from birth till death? It's not that kind of storytelling. It's Aaron Sorkin storytelling where he compresses a number of things into a week and then flashing forward and back is able to show you the essence of who this woman was and who these people were.
Absolutely.
And that was what was so unusual about it, actually. It wasn't a biopic. And when I was sent it originally, I'm like, okay, well, let's have I couldn't put it down. I read it and this screenplay is extraordinary. I would ask anyone to read the screenplay because it's such a good read.
It is excellent. It's an excellent, excellent screenplay. It is a masterclass in screenwriting. It is a masterclass in directing. And I have to say, with this amazing ensemble cast, it is a masterclass in acting. And the reason I say that, for many reasons here, is because you were all giving two performances in this movie. You're playing the characters you're playing, and then you're playing the characters that they play on the show. So Nina, like how did you approach that? You know, playing two different people here, basically.
Yeah, I think for me it was really important to honor the physical differences between the two women because they were so extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, Vivian was a wonderful dancer. She was a leading lady, you know, and she was an ingenue, and Ethel was Ethel. And I had all the research I could possibly want I had for Ethel, obviously. But for Vivian, it was a little tougher. And a producer had sent me a clip that was a couple of seconds long, and it was simply Desi introducing Vivian Vance to the audience right before they were taping. And it was really eye-opening for me because out came this woman with a long spine, her shoulders back, and she kind of chasséed to downstage and took a graceful bow and left. And I just saw a completely different woman, and I became so obsessed with her background and how did this spine develop. So I guess for me, it was really kind of trying to be as respectful as I could to these two very different bodies.
How about for you, JK? Because especially, I gotta say, William Farley was not what I expected from Fred.
Well, yeah, and it was, as Nina said, we all had plenty of footage of I Love Lucy to watch, and so that for those few moments when we were expected to sort of mimic, aspects of the show itself, of the play within the play, that was very clear. About Bill Frawley, there was much less, zero video that I could find outside of his films and his appearances on I Love Lucy. No talk shows, no anything on video, and not even a book. Desi famously wrote a book called A Book. There were plenty of books about Lucille Ball and even about Vivian Vance. Much less about Bill Frawley. So all of my research was through the perspective of Vivian and Lucille and Desi and Jess Oppenheimer in some audio interviews. And in a way, I found that to be sort of freeing in terms of how I portrayed off-camera Bill, which again is, 98% of the movie. He was honestly not all that dissimilar from the cranky landlord Fred Mertz, but the beauty of, again, the gift that we all got from Aaron Sorkin in this script and in his direction along the way. There were so many beautifully detailed layers for all of us, and we got to see really multiple aspects of all of these characters as they relate to each other at different times. The scene in the bar that I have with Lucille, the scene after the table read that I have with Desi, the kvetching back and forth that Vivian and Bill have. All of it, was not easy, but it was clear how to lift that off of the page.
Absolutely. We have a question from Anne Adildin from TT News Agency in Sweden. This is for you, Javier. What struck you the most when you were doing your research to play Desi Arnaz? What were your entry points to play Desi Arnaz?
His absolute confidence in himself and how supportive he was of his wife and the whole show, and how overcome the obstacles by a strong sense of humor. Yeah. He was making fun of everything that doesn't mean that he didn't take it seriously, but he didn't get stuck in the drama of it all.
Right. Yeah. He definitely didn't. Nicole, I want to ask, so in terms of preparation to play Lucille Ball, it's more than just a preparation, kind of like a responsibility of sorts. Did you feel playing Lucille Ball?
Initially, when I said yes to it, I did not realize what I was saying yes to. I was saying yes to an Aaron Sorkin script and a great opportunity, and I was like, wow, when it was in a pandemic. So it was like, this is an extraordinary thing to be, sit on a Zoom with Aaron Sorkin and him to say, I want you to play Lucille Ball. And having read the screenplay, I was like, it's magnificent. Then it was like maybe a week later it hit me, and I was trying to work on just getting just the little baby steps into her voice, and it was nowhere within reach, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? I wish I had the talent to do this, but I don't, and so then it was like, help. And slowly, luckily I had a couple of months, so I could work on it slowly, meticulously, methodically, watching the show, listening to the voice, doing all of the preparation, which is very unusual for me because a lot of times I'll start really inside. But the inside of it was almost already there, just because I could relate to her, I could feel her, it was so beautifully written. Then it was like, oh no, how do I actually create Lucille Ball?
Yeah.
But Aaron was fantastic because when I freaked out, which I did, he's not as good on the phone, Aaron. He's like, yeah, he wants to get off the phone. He's not a big talker like that. But he sent an email that was just basically, you've got this. You're just going to have to take it day by day. I don't want an impersonation. I want you to do the work that you can do, that I know you will do. And I want you not to freak out, basically, because I believe you can do it. And I would challenge him on that at different points throughout the thing, going, and he would never waver. He was so consistent in his belief, and he was also like, I'm not interested in, and I'd be like begging for some sort of nose or a chin. At one point I was like, I gotta change my jaw, the jaw is different. He's like, I don't care. I mean, it was frustrating for him, I think, because he saw how he wanted it, and it took me time to give over to that. And when I did, I went, okay. But in the process, I was able to work on the actual Lucy part of it, which was all of I could hang my hat on that and go, well, I'm gonna have the hair, and I'm gonna have the lips, and I'm gonna have all that, and I can do all of this, and even though it's a slither of the movie, I'll have that. And then out of Lucy Ricardo came Lucille Ball. And Lucille Ball is very different to Lucy Ricardo. Lucille Ball created Lucy Ricardo.
No question. I like the differences between Lucy and Lucille and that's just what makes the movie really, really fantastic. And I wish I could talk with you for the next hour about this movie, but we already have to wrap this press conference. So I want to thank all of you for joining us for our Critics' Choice Association press conference for Being the Ricardos. Once again, the film is in theaters this Friday, and it drops on Amazon Prime on December 21st. Thank you, everyone.
I'll be funny by Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.